Hi everyone, welcome to the latest edition of the Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Wes McKinney, here with head men's and women's track and field coach at Concord University, Coach Mike Cox. Coach, as always, great to have you with us today.
Great to be here today, Wes. Thank you for having me.
You guys just started the outdoor season a couple of weeks ago, but I want to take a trip back here to the indoor season, a very successful one for the Mountain Lions. Broke a few school records, went down during the indoor season, also a lot of PRs, a lot of great progress towards the outdoor season. But what was your overall impression of the indoor season?
Well, I thought it went really well. I mean, it just shows how hard the folks are working. We had several PRs. I mean, some people were PRing, 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row. I mean, there's bound a time when that's gonna end.
Sure.
You're not gonna have a PR that weekend. But as a whole, I feel like we're all on the same page and we're working hard. Striving to get better.
Mm-hmm. Looking out the outdoor season, I mentioned it started a couple weeks ago. At the beginning of the month, you guys went to Charleston for their meet, and then the last 2 weeks you've been at UNC Wilmington at the beach, and then this past weekend at UNC Charlotte. You guys have had a couple records. Jonathan Gores broke his record in a high jump in consecutive weeks to start the season. Justin Snyder owns the top time in the 10K in the conference. Damon Akers is second in the conference in a couple events. You have guys that run a bunch of good 10K or 5Ks. Emily Henry's run some good 400s. Ladies have run good 5Ks. Just go on and on and on. But how happy have you been with your team's performance here the first 2-3 weeks of the outdoor season?
Oh, I mean, the results obviously speak for themselves. I mean, we're getting out there and getting after it, and we're competing. No matter what, we want to get out there and compete. We've worked through some of the meets, and we're just getting ready to try to rock and roll. Everything is focused towards that May 5th through the 5th through the 7th, whatever it is there at West Virginia Wesleyan. So everything along the way is gravy, but we want to get to the MEC, and we want to shine there, both men and women. We want to hopefully put our best performances together at that time. We'll take the PRs and everything going up to that point, but again, everything's our focal point is that.
I want to go off the grid here and actually ask you a follow-up question for a second. Last year, you guys had one of your best MEC meets ever, especially the men. I think set the record for most points ever scored. The ladies had a great meet as well. How do you follow up that success from last year and kind of do a carbon copy of it this year at the MEC meet?
Well, I mean, it's something to build on from last year. I mean, the guys and the girls are both hungry to do better. They feel like they can do better. So that's where it all begins is having them, want that and believe that, because it can happen. But we just got to go there and put it together. But I think what we did last year was a great stepping stone to put us in position to make another run to get at a good competition.
As a coach, you guys have one of the longer seasons. You guys go from the 1st of December all the way, as you mentioned, through the 1st of May, and then maybe even some people later than that. Depends on what happens. But as a coach, how do you handle this long grind? There's so many peaks, so many valleys you got to go through. How do you handle that?
It's just always about being positive. That's what I preach. You just got to be positive. You got to keep believing. We've had injuries, setbacks, even way back in the winter with people getting hurt and getting back now and working. So it's you definitely have those peaks and valleys. But again, it's being positive and again wanting to shine in May.
To this point in the season, obviously mentioned the great accomplishments during the indoor season. Outdoor season's gone well. Is this kind of how you envision things going through the first 3 weeks of the outdoor season?
Well, I mean, we've definitely exceeded some expectations there with some of the performances that we've done. But again, it just goes to show you the work that they're doing. I mean, we haven't really cut back and looked like, okay, yeah, we're going to try to peak. So far we've just been training. The weather, the weather's been an issue to a degree. I mean, we've been blessed with a very decent winter. But our first 3 meets, haven't been, even the training for those the weather hasn't been that great. I mean, it was really, really cold in Wilmington and Charlotte as well. But again, we've made the most of it. We're working as a team. We're pushing each other, and that's all I can ask for.
What's been some surprises? Because I'm sure, like you said, you've had people exceed expectations, and maybe even some, usual cast of characters maybe exceeding their expectations. But what's been some surprises for you as a coach thus far?
Well, I mean, you look at, like Kenna Knowles PR'd by 1:06 in the 5K. Justin Snyder PR'd by over a minute in the 10K. We had 7 people overall PR in the 5K last weekend. Even more PRs in the 10K. Looking at our 4x4s for the guys, we're really deep in that 4x4 area. We've run faster to this point than we did last year at this point. Even our second, call it the B team, beat Wesleyan and Glenville at Charlotte, with our B squad. So, it's things like that
Sure.
that are really promising. And again, it just shows you, the work that we've been putting in.
Last question for you here. Upcoming meets. You guys have the Fred Hardy Invitational hosted by the University of Richmond this weekend. Next weekend, you're at High Point, a couple of meets that you guys have gone to traditionally here in the last 4 or 5 years. What are you looking forward to in these next 2 meets?
Well, it looks like the weather's going to be good this weekend at Richmond. That meet's typically a really good meet with solid teams. I mean, it's about the right size. You're looking at about 18, 20 schools. So hopefully we can get in there and compete and see what happens. Then we go to High Point, again another decent meet, and really all of our meets are pretty solid. As far as competition goes, I mean, we have the one Wesleyan meet in there where it'll be predominantly conference schools.
Sure.
But we still have Liberty on the schedule. We still have Duke on the schedule, and we'll get a crew. Hopefully we can get our 4x4 relay into pin relays as well. So. We're excited about the future.
Exactly. Coach, thank you for stopping by today, and good luck this weekend, and also good luck the rest of the season. I'm sure we'll catch up before the MEC meet coming up here in about 6 weeks.
Thank you, bunches.
Once again, for Coach Mike Cox, this has been Wes McKinney with this edition of the Coach's Corner for all Concord athletics. Be sure to check into our website, cumountainlions.com. Thanks for tuning in.